And both the government attorney and the judge just roar the biggest laugh, like I just told the best joke of all time. And I have the widow in the back, the kids, and the interpreter locks eyes with me, and I don't even know what to say. And this particular judge comes out and looks at us, there's another girl and me, and says, "Why do you guys come? You guys don't have to come. You can come on the platform. There's a platform for us to show up on WebEx, but the respondents have to come." I said, "Well, because my client needed me here." And a lot of people leave the practice, or they do something else. They do worker visas that are very, quiet, and your heart doesn't leave its body. It's work that you can breathe in and breathe out and be okay. We do other work. I do other immigration work, but removal proceedings are the heart of what I do the most of. It's maybe 75% of what I do.
Yeah.
Because of them and because of what I lived through, I can relate and talk to and work with people, and I still have passion for it. I've been practicing 26 years in the same line of work, and I love it. And I have to say, in part because of what I lived through.
Yeah.
And so something good comes out of, always, something good comes out of the bad, always.
All rise to drink. Welcome to Sidebar Sessions by cdlaw, your personal injury law firm. Your hosts, Miguel, Custodio, and Vineet, Dubey. Two lawyers and guests breaking down law and life over a glass of wine. Get ready. This is Sidebar Sessions.
Welcome to Sidebar Sessions, episode number 7. Vineet Dubey and Miguel Custodio. Today, we have the pleasure and privilege of sitting down with Elizabeth Torres. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So Elizabeth is an immigration attorney.
Yep.
And we'll get into that. But first, let's open up a bottle of wine.
There were promises made.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay.
Promises kept.
Okay. We shall see.
Well, we definitely have wine. I don't know if we have sweet wine.
So
Is that
you
the-
do remember.
I do remember.
Yeah, Moscato, right?
Moscato,
Yeah,
yes. That was I
Yeah.
was asked, I replied.
Yes.
Weren't you going to bring your own bottle for us?
Did I threaten to do that?
I feel like you said you were going to bring
Did
a bottle.
I say that? I'm
but
misremembering.
at our-
Aw.
we had lunch when we met a few weeks ago.
Thank you very much.
So, Elizabeth, where'd you grow up?
Mexico City
Okay.
in Iztapalapa, which is, of all the sections of the city, the roughest part of town.
Oh, wow.
It's really beautiful and chaotic and crazy and impoverished still to date. It was a beautiful upbringing full of everything that Mexican culture has to offer, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then I'd go to the other side of town for school. I was at the American school on scholarship. Very lucky. From 3 years old to 17, and then got recruited to come to school out here.
Oh, nice.
Very lucky. Very, very lucky girl.
I love Mexico City.
It's a beautiful city.
I've been 3 or 4 times.
Oh, it's a gorgeous city.
We stayed right next to that huge park one time.
Chapultepec.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep,
Yes.
yep. And the food is incredible. I
The
love it.
people, yes.
Yeah.
And it's
What a
like,
city. It's
like every
vibrant.
other,
It's-
yes. And love of tourists is just like every other big city. You got to watch.
Sure,
You got to
of
watch
course.
what you do when you do it.
Yeah.
Like every other metropolis.
Yes, whenever you travel, right? You have to know when to be aware and
Yeah.
when
Yes.
to watch your back
Thank
and
you.
whatnot. And,
Yes.
But it's one of my favorite cities. One
This
of my family's
particular part of
favorite
town
cities.
is where nobody wants to go. So
Yeah.
when I
So we
would
probably
go,
didn't stay there.
No, you would not go to Iztapalapa because even the locals don't want to go to my part of town.
Yeah.
So if you take a cab and you say, quiero ir a Iztapalapa, the cabbie will look at you like either you pay me more or you look for another cab. So I offer double the
the rough
rate.
part of town,
It,
huh?
is, it
Wow.
really, really was. Yes, that's where I'm from. Long answer to a quick question.
And so you came here at 17?
2 days before I turned 18, yes.
18.
I flew out here with a bag, and I didn't have anybody here. I was here on scholarship. My mom put me on a one-way ticket to LA, and I went to USC. They took me in 2 weeks early, so I was at the dorms by myself for 2 weeks. That was insane and also intense and crazy. And I've been here 35 years.
So how did that come about in terms of you wanting to come to the United States, right? Because a lot of us think about growing up in impoverished areas and people wanting to come. in a city like Mexico City, is there's probably more opportunity there than there are in a lot of parts of Mexico. But what was it your parents pushing you to come here? Did you just still think, was this the place to be?
I would say yes and no to what you're saying about the city. My family was, on my dad's side, very Catholic and very much my big fat Greek wedding, but if you guys have watched that movie, but Roman Catholic Mexican. And they were, okay, I'm in the middle of 125 first cousins, yes? So this is
Wow.
a gigantic family. My father was the oldest of 17 kids.
Oh.
Yes, so I am one of many. And there's a certain path you have to follow in my family or else. And my family was also plagued with what a lot of Latino families have, a lot of addiction, a lot of violence, a lot of beautiful things and beautiful memories, but a lot of mental health issues and addiction. And I needed out. So I was a great student, and I needed to get out. And my mom helped me fill out the forms, and my mom got me here.
Awesome.
She's the one who said I needed to do different.
Yeah.
And I did because of her. Because the rest of the family, I was an outcast. I was supposed to stay home, and I'm the youngest. So I'm supposed to stay home and take care of my parents. That's the role in my family. I was supposed to go to school locally, and yes, there are a lot of good schools. I was supposed to stay. But then USC came and offered me a full ride. And my mom was like, we got to do this.
Yeah.
So she packed my bag, and she put me on a plane. My mom.
And you had never been to the U.S. before?
I had
Oh.
traveled with my parents. They gave me the love of travel. So my dad had the ugliest Nissan Datsun with an orange stripe he painted so that no one would steal his little Nissan Datsun.
I wish we had a picture of that.
Oh my God, it was the most horrific car
Datsun.
ever. It was a
I remember that.
Datsun.
Yeah.
It's a
Yellow,
pre-Nissan,
bright yellow,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
With a bright orange thing he painted with regular paint all the way around so nobody would steal his car. So we did all
Smart.
the United States one summer.
Oh, that's
all of
cool.
Mexico a different summer, and then did that 2 or 3 more times with sandwiches and hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah.
And they instilled in me a love of travel. Really, with very little money, and a lot of, my mom had books for every state, and we stopped in a lot of places. I visited every single state in the United States, every single one in Mexico. They instilled in me a love of getting to know other places.
Sandwiches and hard-boiled eggs.
Yes.
That was the lunch that we would have when I was a kid, and we'd go to Disneyland. We'd go into this park, and then for lunch, you'd
Yes.
go out.
Yes,
and
that's how
then
I went to
you-
Disneyland.
Yeah.
That's how I went
I
to
mean-
Disneyland. I don't know how long they saved, but that's what we did. We went
Yeah.
back to the car,
Yeah.
and my mom had her little red and white cooler.
Yeah.
And I remember hard-boiled eggs and sandwiches.
Yeah.
I didn't try Disney food until I was a grown adult,
no.
and I took my kids and I tried food and decided it was a little pricey. But that's the first time I tasted Disneyland food. We always went out and did that. The one time I went to Disney. So yeah, that's how I ended up.
It's a
here.
better way to do it. We're doing it your way the next time I take my kids.
That's
But
what we did.
overpriced Disney food is ridiculous.
Yes,
It's absurd.
It really is.
Sandwiches and hard boiled.
But look,
Yes,
the
and it
Blue
worked.
Bayou, let me tell you,
Oh.
the Blue Bayou has an
Yes.
amazing Monte Cristo sandwich.
Okay.
That the bread is actually beignet bread. And
I've
so
had
they
that.
bring it out. It's like a ham and cheese sandwich. I didn't even know what a Monte Cristo was.
I learned.
It's just really a ham and cheese sandwich,
Yeah.
right? But fried.
Like grilled and
Isn't
fried.
Yeah,
it deep
right.
fried?
Yeah.
Deliciously
But
fried.
imagine now with the beignet, and then they put some sugar sprinkle
Oh
stuff on top. So it's like the sweet and savory.
Yes.
Amazing.
For
Amazing.
$74.
Well, I mean,
Or more.
but, you know.
Or more, but the Blue Bayou, I've eaten
That
there
sounds great.
once
And it's
before,
really
too.
hard to get into that
Yes,
restaurant.
a
so
month
it's
ahead
kind
of time
yes,
to get to the
you
Blue
know,
Bayou.
so,
I did that once.
But the rest of the stuff, I mean, I think they have a Starbucks now. You know, they have
They
a
do?
Starbucks.
I haven't been since my kids were little.
Insane. The line is crazy.
No, they
But
probably
everything
have
at
some.
Disney is expensive.
Of course, that comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So SC, so you lived in the dorms.
I did.
And that's incredible, by the way. You got a full scholarship
Yeah.
to SC. That's
Yes.
not easy
Yeah.
to do for
Your
any now.
school-
Back then,
UCLA
know.
offered half a ride, but my parents couldn't afford a
Yeah,
quarter ride. I
sure.
needed the full Monty, and the only school who offered was USC.
Wow.
In exchange, I had to be an R8 too, so I was a resident advisor. And I was like,
Yeah.
fine. I did that for
take
3
that
years.
trade off every
any
day of the week.
especially for a private tuition. I
Yeah.
mean, private school tuition.
And nothing. I owe nothing for
Wow.
undergrad. Nothing. So I did that.
And you
for 4
majored
years.
in?
Public administration.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
And
then
all I knew was that I wanted to help people. I wasn't quite sure how. And my advisor said, "You sure like to talk." And he helped me fill out the law school applications. So I ended up at Whittier Law School, a very small school. And I loved it because it was very personal and very personable. Had a wonderful education there for 3 years and clerked at a couple nonprofits that did immigration work. And I just got lucky because I got to leave academically. That's what got me here, was the fact that I was a citizen already because my mother was a citizen. And I got the scholarship. But I would have left some other way. I couldn't stay home. I just got lucky that I could do it an easier way, if you will. And I knew I needed to help people. Once I clerked my first clerkship at El Rescate Legal Services, they're here in downtown still, I connected with the clients and I connected with their stories and I was hooked. And I've been doing immigration work since I clerked in 95. And I dabbled in bankruptcy, crim. I did a little crim work. I did some bankruptcy, some family law. Always stayed with immigration, and that's where my love is. That's where my heart is.
So when you first clerked at those nonprofits, did you apply to any other clerkships, or and why did you decide to clerk there?
El Rescate was very non-traditional in that they offered these charlas, these chats twice a week to the community, Tuesdays and Fridays at the time. And the staff attorneys would open up their little conference room and everybody would come in. They would do these charlas. I don't know if they still do them. I know one of the staff attorneys there, but I haven't asked her if they do these. And then people would get in line and the staff attorneys would stay till 10, 11 o'clock talking to each person in the line about their immigration questions. And it left me really impressed with their dedication. I had also applied to Caresen, and I've done some work with them. And I had applied to public counsel, and I did poverty law with them. I did food stamp and homeless relief for a summer. I worked with them. And that was another, so I knew I needed to do one of those two things, but immigration really pulled me because I felt a connection culturally. Being born and raised in Mexico, it really spoke to me. I really understand, fortunately and unfortunately, what people go through. I just got lucky in how I got to get here. I didn't have to file an asylum claim. I could have applied for different things as I've studied the law. I'm like, oh, I qualified for that. I qualified for that and that. Oh, I didn't have to, but I could have. If I wasn't a citizen, I would have, because I would have left. I had to leave. I couldn't stay home.
And do you go back to Mexico to visit family?
I used to go a lot. My parents are gone. My dad's been gone a long time, 23 years. My mom passed away 2 years ago. Since she passed, I haven't been back. It's a mixed bag for me to go home. It's very, it doesn't feel like a vacation and it doesn't feel comfortable because it was just a difficult time. As much as it was, you know, I have memories with 30 cousins and my family's from a little ranch in Tlaxcala. So we'd go to Tlaxcala, it's a state in Mexico, and we go on a ranch and my uncle had a gigantic truck and there's 30 of us piled on. And we go to a water hole that's a drinking hole for the cattle and we're bathing in this water that is absolutely awful. But it's the greatest memory I have, or going into a huge tinaco, which holds water for the community, and bathing there because it was hot. And you throw the kids into this thing where you could drown. But, you know, hey, 30 kids in this hole that's enormous. I have these great memories with my cousins and sleeping out under the stars and delicious food, and then all the other, a lot of alcohol, a lot of everything that comes with too much alcohol.
Speaking of alcohol, we should cheers.
Oh,
and
yes, the light
Try
side
the
of
wine.
the alcohol. Salud.
Yeah.
And
Cheers.
salud.
Yeah.
Thank you for the Moscato. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Yes, very much. Oh, that's very good. So I don't go back as much. I did go back for my mom's funeral and her service, and that was also very difficult and beautiful, as you know, as family can be.
Yeah.
Just this beautiful mesh of wonderful. They're humans, right? Parents can't give. I can't give what I don't have. My parents couldn't give me what they didn't have, so they gave what they could, and they did the best they could. And it was a little crappy sometimes, utterly wonderful other times. And because of them and because of what I lived through, I can relate and talk to and work with people, and I still have passion for it. I've been practicing 26 years in the same line of work, and I love it. And it's, I have to say, in part because of what I lived through.
Yeah.
And so something good comes out of, always, something good comes out of the bad, always.
And so, well, you know, interestingly, I went to 2 funerals in 1 week a couple weeks ago.
Oof.
You know, and you know, they're heavy. I mean, and it's just, before the service started in both of them, people were you could tell they were reconnecting. You could tell people hadn't talked to, or seen each other in a while. And, I thought that's like the nice part of it, the beauty part, right?
Yes.
And then I thought, nothing brings humans together like the birth and the death.
Yes.
And it's just, unfortunately, sometimes you end up reconnecting with somebody only because you're there for for a sad reason,
Right.
But just to see the joy in some of these people's faces, not the joy, obviously, of the reason why they were there, but just the fact that they were connecting with somebody, you could tell. I didn't know some of these people, but I could just tell based on their expressions that they were really like happy to see each other, And
After so long.
yeah.
Yes.
And
So that's the silver lining, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
get together, you reminisce, you meet people you haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
You think about the good times, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we connect.
Pay your respects to
Yes.
whoever passes and their family. So there's a silver lining,
Yeah.
right?
For sure.
Out of the sadness.
Yeah.
For
right?
sure.
And like you said, like there is a lot.
there is.
Out of the hard things, out of the tough stuff, out of the bad stuff. You
There's
get,
always,
you know.
always,
Right.
always a silver lining.
Yeah.
And the lessons that you can then carry forward, because we're all trying to do the best we can with what we have at the time, and not seen as an excuse, but more as a frame of reference, because that has helped me immensely find people where they are and try to help them where they are. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And giving people a chance in a gigantic system that is stacked up against them from the beginning. And I really like it. I really enjoy having a shot. Often not successfully, but it's really, really worth it.
So currently, you have your own law practice.
Yes.
After law school, what was your journey to get to that point? Where did you work for different firms? Did you go to nonprofits first?
Stayed in nonprofit at that very first place I clerked at, El Rescate Legal Services. I didn't pass the bar the first time. I passed the second time. And I was a staff attorney with them for a year. And then I opened up a small firm with their legal director. He was my partner for 10 years. And then after that, we parted ways. And then I just kept doing what I was doing, but by myself.
As a staff attorney, tell us what you did. A lot of our audience, they're students that are either in law school or in college or even in high school, and they're thinking about different careers within law. And so tell us a little bit about, what a staff attorney at a nonprofit like El Rescate does.
At the time, it was I was thrown into the deep end because, like many nonprofits, their resources were very limited. And so there were 6 of us, and there were 2 attorneys, and one who's a current judge, sitting immigration judge, and the other who was my then business partner. He became my business partner. And so we ended up going to court right away. As soon as, even I hadn't passed the bar yet, I was a 3L. And then as I was waiting for bar results the second time, I went to court, and the staff attorney was there with me. In immigration court, you can go and have the attorney shadow you, and you work under their number, and they have to stay with you. But you do all the work, but they have to be in court with you. So I got to go to court early on, and I was in proceedings when I was still a student. And that was incredible. So even from a really brief hearing to doing a full-blown merits hearing, so I got to do intake, and I had my own clients. So then we would pitch the clients at staff meetings to decide which cases were kept, which cases were referred out. If the client could pay or not pay, they were referred out. If they could pay, and find them an attorney that had a sliding fee scale. And then if we kept the client, you got to keep that client through the duration of the case. And oftentimes they went off to appeals, and then I couldn't do it anymore. It was the staff attorney who would take over. So I got to handle the case from beginning to the decision by the judge. And I got to know the clients really, really well. Because in immigration, you get to know everything, absolutely everything about the client, because you're trying to fight for their chance to stay. Whatever the claim is, you got to know everything. And I became really attached to my clients. I still do that, which is an art form, to not get too attached, and learning to detach, because I get really vested in their lives.
Yeah.
That's an incredible experience, like right out of law school.
Yes.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
big
to,
time.
Like,
Yes.
You're in court handling these cases.
Yes, and I remember my very first client. I know
talking
her
to a
name.
judge.
Yeah.
Yes, it was phenomenal. I just lost audio in one. I don't know if I moved weird. Did I move weird? Oh, I'm back.
No, you didn't.
I'm back. I couldn't hear. I'm back. Sorry.
You-
It was phenomenal experience. It was really, really great. I remember Trini. Her name was Trinidad, and I remember her. And she'd feed me, and she taught me a lot of words. I worked in El Rescate was all male at the time. I was the only girl at the time, and the boys were very Salvadoreños can be, not all of them, but this particular group. Every other word was a cuss word. And there were some I didn't know because I'm Mexican. So she taught me all the cuss words because I didn't know what things were. And she taught me words like cipote, which for Salvadoreños is a little kid. And I thought it was a fruit. So she educated me on Salvadoreño vocabulary.
Yeah.
And she cooked for me. She was also HIV positive, and she'd been infected by her husband, who didn't bother to tell her he was sleeping with a man. It was just,
Was this your first client?
this was my very first client
Okay.
ever, Trini.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And she had a pet parent.
She had a pet parrot?
Yeah,
Okay.
I met her parent.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember her completely.
Isn't it wild? You still remember so much
Yes.
about your first client?
I remember her.
6 years ago?
I remember her, and she passed away maybe 10 years later from her HIV/AIDS, and I remember her. I will never forget her.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won her case too. That was helpful.
That was great.
Ugh.
Wow.
That was helpful.
And so you went with another attorney there. You started practice with
Yes.
him.
Mhm.
That was for 10 years?
About 10 years. So it ran from maybe 9 years. It ran from 2000 until 2009. So 9 years, give or take, maybe 10.
And it worked until it didn't.
Yes, it worked because he was a wonderful mentor. He's a brilliant man. I think he lives up in Seattle. He was brilliant man, but it didn't work out in working together. We had very different ideas of what working together looked like, and we weren't able to smooth those out over the years.
Yeah.
And so we just parted ways. And I kept the practice, and he moved.
Mm.
And he worked full-time at a nonprofit, and then he moved up to Seattle.
Oh, nice.
He's in the Washington area. I've lost touch with him. He was my mentor through law school, and for many years, we were very, very close, and it didn't work out.
Yeah. And so when you started your own practice, tell us, were you, because we also, we meet a lot of young attorneys that are thinking of doing, starting up their own practice. Tell us about your experience opening up your own practice, things that you would recommend, things you wouldn't. Just some advice on that.
I think my look back, my biggest thing, because I've been asked by younger attorneys as well, is know a little bit about business. Because I didn't.
It's good advice.
It's hard though.
I
It's hard.
didn't.
They don't teach it in law school
didn't.
though. They don't teach it in law school.
Right.
Where are you going to learn it?
Yeah.
I learned it on the fly.
On the fly.
I learned by trial and error. I'm still learning as the practice develops and my clients shift a little and my place in life shifts. My kids are now all full. They're not fully together, but they're older. They don't need me as much. So one of the greatest benefits of working on my own is, yes, I was in court and still am in court a lot. So I have all these bosses in court, which are the judges, but I had a lot of flexibility to be with my kids. And the judges, once they get to know you, they give you a break. So they know, hey, I need to do this for the kid. Can I please? And they're very flexible and very, very understanding that I was a single parent and I had these two little ones. And I don't know that I would have been able to do, I don't know because I didn't do it, but I've heard that it would have been harder in a bigger organization to have that flexibility to drop everything and my kid has 102 temperature and go and be able to be there for them to the best of my abilities because they think I wasn't there for them much. So, it's all relative. I think I was there as much
ton.
as I could. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
as much as humanly possible.
Yes, but if you ask particularly my son, he will tell you I was never there and I was always working. And I think I was trying to split the baby the best I could. It was rough. Yeah. So that was a great advantage, was to be able to kind of drop and go as needed. And the great thing about the buck stops here. So that's a disadvantage too, because there's no one to, you can delegate to a certain extent, but the fish, my husband says, the fish stinks at the head. Yeah, so I'm the head of the fish, and if the fish stinks, it's me, myself, and I. So I'm it. I've also wanted to keep it that way. I didn't want to try to do the partnership thing again. I wanted to keep it small, and I purposely have kept it small by my own doing. And I appreciate that, so I can stay with contact with the clients the way that I want and be able to have a relationship that I want with each one, so I don't spread myself too thin. So the art of time management is also, you learn that. I've learned that the hard way. So learn how to manage time. Again, how have I learned? Just by trial and error. How do I learn that any other way?
Yeah. You know, it's the quality and quantity quandary, if you want to call it that. You know, when it's small, there's a way better chance that there's going to be a higher quality, right? Because you don't have that many clients, and you're spending adequate time with each client. You know, as we've grown, you know, that's something that we've been very, very mindful about, making sure that even though we're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, the quality stays the same. And let me tell you, it is not easy.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. And the bigger we get, the I tell people, you know, I don't know. I understand why these bigger firms like that, you know, advertise on billboards, why they spend so much money on marketing, because they're never getting return clients, you know. And why not? It's because they're not treating their clients well. Why? Well, because they get so many cases, they don't want to staff up appropriately. And that's the thing. It's like, staff up appropriately, make sure that the ratios aren't too crazy.
Correct.
We hear, you know, when we interview people or we talk to other attorneys, we hear about case managers, at least in personal injury, having 150 to 250 cases.
Oof.
And it's just per person. And yeah, they may have an assistant, but I mean, come on, how much can you really get done on any particular case when you have that much, right?
Right.
And so
The level of service cannot be high.
It just
No,
can't.
It's
no.
impossible.
It just can't. So,
Yeah.
you know, I really, really respect the view that you have and others that realize, hey, look, you know what? I'm not going to go that route. You know, I'm going to just try to give them that personalized service, but it's going to be me,
Yes.
right? And it's great. And you know, that's why Vineet and I, even though we've grown, we've made sure to put like the sufficient guardrails to make sure that, you know, things don't fall, you know, through the cracks. But even then, like, I mean, we have a bunch of stories, right? I mean, people come in and they want to be treated just like very special, and that's
Yes.
great. And you know, because
Yes.
you know what attorneys charge is not cheap, right?
Right.
Whether it's contingency or whether it's hourly. And so I think as attorneys, we all owe it to our clients
Absolutely.
to treat them as if their case is the only one that
Right.
we have.
Because to them, it is.
It is.
And
Right.
it is.
It is.
I had a
It
judge.
literally is.
Yes.
I'm going to do a tiny sidebar with you on this. I had a judge who used to be in private practice, and this has happened. The private practice attorneys who become judges, some of them are the biggest tyrants that we've adopted, unfortunately. And this particular tyrant made all the respondents go to court a couple weeks ago. He made all of them go, and only 2 attorneys showed up. I was one of the 2 attorneys because my client was petrified. And this particular judge comes out and looks at us. There's another girl and me, and says, "Why do you guys come? You guys don't have to come. You can come on the platform. There's a platform for us to show up on WebEx, but the respondents have to come." I said, "Well, because my client needed me here." "Well, but you can just appear on the screen." I said, "I know I can, but my client needs me here." And he says, "Oh, what? Are they afraid ICE is coming?" And he laughs the greatest laugh. And I just, none of us laughed. Government attorney is also on the screen. Government attorney didn't laugh, which you thought they might have, but they didn't. Yeah, because to him, there's a chance. And even though he doesn't know that if ICE comes, there's very little I can do. But he needed that support. And I needed to be there. Because for him, that's his day in court. And he's petrified because ICE has been coming around randomly to court, taking people, or sitting in the back looking threatening, scaring the living daylights out of people. So yes, I'm going to go. So no, I don't have to be there, but I need to be there.
Yeah.
So I'll be there. Sometimes I can't because the judges schedule 3 of us at the same time. I have to be in 3 places at once. And I need to see, okay, I have my 3 special people. which one is most special? I need to go to that one, and then try to triage the other two because there was a scheduling issue, and then work with those clients because to them, it's their day. And I guess I applaud you guys for being aware. We have a lot of attorneys in this area who are not aware, or they forgot, or they don't care, or they just are not moved anymore by what they do, and they just care about, they don't even know who their client is. And they show up and the judge says something basic like, oh, is your respondent married? And they turn and they look in the screen. I don't know, Judge, I need a second. You don't need a second. You need to know who you're representing.
Like,
today.
come on.
You don't know if they're married? And then the question will come, well, counsel, do they have children? I think so, Judge. You think so, counsel. So how many children do they have? Well, may I ask the client? And wait, the attorney doesn't speak Spanish, so they need an interpreter. That bothers me. And there are very few bigger firms that I know that do immigration where they take the time to care about their human. I care about my clients, and they know that. So I'm very proud that I'll get referrals even when we didn't lose. We lost the case. And then the guy will say, oh, I sent you my brother and my cousin and my grandma and the lady I saw at the laundromat. I told her. And I'm like, thank you. It means a lot to me that you would do that.
Yeah.
Because in immigration, you're going to lose most of the time. In court, particularly. You lose most of the time.
So suffice to say that judge you were talking about isn't one of those judges that is going to warn your client to go through the back door like that one judge in...
No. Yeah, he's not that guy. No.
Wow.
And this particular person worked private for over 25 years. And I don't know why. I've seen it happen several times. Private bar going to judgeship, something shifts. Not all of them. I know a handful that remain human. And most of the trial attorneys who become judges, they're really great judges. I do not know exactly what happens, but something happens. I'm not sure what it is.
And was your client, this particular case, was this your client Latino?
Yes, he
And
was.
Please don't tell me that the judge was Latino.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe we need tequila shots right now
Yes.
to be doing this.
Yes.
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 So, wow.
And it's difficult.
Yeah, that is rough. A couple weeks ago, we were talking, and you talked about a case that I'll never forget, just because of how I think vile the judge was when he found out about Tell us about that story.
And the government attorney.
Yeah,
and the government attorney.
Well,
they were both
yeah,
female. Both the judge and the government attorney are both female. The judge is now retired. Government counsel is still an attorney. She's been with the department maybe 40 years. She's one of the oldest government attorneys. She's been there the longest. She's very knowledgeable, but she's brutal. So my guy was in proceedings, and we lost. We lost based on a vehicular code section that had shifted somewhere in the 80s. And I did research from the California Vehicular Code. I was stuck at the law library for days on end. I briefed the issue about the vehicular code and about moral character, about whether or not my guy could stay. He had a DUI. He had a couple moral character issues, but there were several issues with the vehicular code and whether these sections were attaching to his moral character or not. 3 or 4 United States and children. The kids were non-remarkable, good kids. Nothing phenomenal, nothing terrible, just an average family. Wife, no status. We lose the case, and it goes up on appeal. And by this time, we're in year 7 or 8 when it goes up on appeal. My client worked with his brother at a demolition company, and the case on appeal took about 3 years, which is little time. Right now, those cases take 7, 8, or 9 years at the appellate board. This is not even the Ninth Circuit, so this is just the Board of Immigration Appeals. The board granted, which happens sometimes, rainbows and sunshine and unicorns, granted and gave us relief, but we had to go back to the judge. And the day before the hearing, my client was out working at the demolition site, and his brother was operating the wrecking ball. And they don't know what happened with the safety system, but he apparently had some kind of audio, and he didn't hear the bell. There's a bell. There's auditory and visual to get off the property when the wrecking ball is going to go off, and he didn't hear it, and he was apparently leaning over to pick something up, and his brother released the wrecking ball and killed his brother instantly.
Oof.
Instantly. So I go to court the next day, and I find out from the wife who comes to court that morning. It's an 8 o'clock, 8:30 hearing.
The next day.
The next morning.
Oh my God.
Wife comes with all the kids, and all we have is a police report. I don't have anything from the coroner yet. I don't have much. And the judge comes out, and she takes another case, and she comes to me. And this is a judge who was known for playing cards while you were asking your client questions. She was playing cards on her computer. She was playing solitaire. This is her jam. She was playing cards. This particular day, she's not playing cards. She opens the file, and she tells me, oh, well, you have finally something good, and you finally won. And then I explained what happened, and I said, well, my client's deceased. And both the government attorney and the judge just roar the biggest laugh, like I just told the best joke of all time. And I have the widow in the back, the kids, and the interpreter locks eyes with me, and I don't even know what to say. I had no words. I asked to be excused for a second. I took the widow outside, and I came back in. And then she gave me a continuance because I have to prove that my guy is really dead, because whatever we have, the police report is not enough. So I came back about 6 weeks later, 6 or 8 weeks, with a certified death certificate. Because if you don't have a certified death certificate, they'll do an in absentia hearing. Your person is deported in absence, and they'll go to the house. And wife is undocumented, so they would have picked her up. So I had to make sure the case was, completed. But I didn't know what to do with that. I came back. I noted my objection on the record. It didn't matter. Nothing happened. I spoke to the judge in charge, who just told me there's nothing wrong. There's no misconduct. And yes, I guess you're right. There is no misconduct. But it was just morally reprehensible is what the Ninth Circuit would say, I guess. And so my client died. And that took 11 years and one wrecking ball. And there were 3 kids without a dad, and a wifey without her hubby of 28 years. And he would have been a green card holder.
I mean,
and that's one of many stories.
Just to hear, can you imagine how the children and the wife are always going to remember being there literally the day after this happens? And then you have some person in a robe who, even if you've never gone to court before, that a judge is like a person of importance, and they're the ruler of that room, and they stand for justice, right? And then to just make a complete mockery of somebody's death. It's just,
Yes.
It's
And this
insane.
particular judge was known for things like this. Another occasion, one of a detained client had grand mal seizure, and he had a seizure during the proceeding, and the ambulance came and took him, and the same judge tells me, I expect to see you 8:30 tomorrow morning. So I can't produce a client at 8:30 in the morning. He just had a seizure. Go get me proof that he actually had a seizure. So I had to go to county hospital. I stayed there for the evening. They gave me the paperwork. Then she granted me a week. Then I went back a week later, and he could barely walk. He was in a wheelchair. This was par for the course with this particular judge. This is a judge who had a lot of things that maybe explain why, but there's no reason why whatever happens to you needs to be unleashed onto other people when your role is to be impartial. That's your job. Your job is to be impartial. And she was most definitely not impartial.
So this is like a breakdown in humanity, right? Like
Right.
Yes,
people
I think
listening
that's-
to
Right.
stories about other people, and they laugh about it, and they are cruel about it, right? And they have
Yes.
no compassion and no empathy about it. You've been in the trenches doing immigration law for a long time. Is it worse now than it was before? Is there something about the system that leads people to look at people in the system as less than human? How does this happen? To me it blows.
I'm glad we're talking about it.
Right? Can you imagine hearing that somebody died and knowing that his wife and children are in the audience of your courtroom
Laughing.
and having a laugh about it and laughing about the irony, right?
Yeah. Oh, she was cry laughing. She laughed so hard she was crying.
Think about what a breakdown in humanity that is.
Yes.
And what does that say about our system of immigration?
And what I did when I went outside is I hugged her. I apologized. And I said, I'm so sorry that we're letting you down, we as a system, because I'm supposed to be an officer of this
Yeah.
place. I'm an officer of this place, and you're being treated like this. And I'm so sorry. And she was weeping. And I have nothing. I have nothing but a hug and an apology as this person who's appointed for her whole life is going to sit there. And she was still a judge for a good 15, 20 years after this. She just retired maybe a year or two ago.
That's
And it's par for the course. It's par for the course. I have another client who has stage 3 pancreatic cancer. And the government attorney said, well, we could just do the hearing. She doesn't have to participate. Why would you want her to meaningfully participate? Just take the appeal. And this particular judge said, are you saying what I think you're saying? I said, no, I'm not going to. I can't do that. I need to have her meaningfully participate in her day in court. And then government attorney says something to the extent of, well, you make it sound like I don't have a heart and I'm kind of ruthless. And nobody said anything.
I mean, if the shoe fits, I mean,
And this particular person's an immigrant herself. Of course she is. She's not Latina, but she's an immigrant. And it boggles the mind how she was okay with what she wanted me to do. And this particular judge put her foot down and said, absolutely not, gratefully. And I opposed. So to your question, I don't know. I don't know what happens, but this person has so much power. It's not even, I know in the world of law, this court it's admin law, right? It's the lowest of the lowest of the totem pole, but it's just as critical as criminal law because they decide whether this person gets to stay here and make a life for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, the effect on somebody's life is just as important as any other proceeding, if not more, right?
It's critical.
It's freedom to a certain respect, just like criminal.
Yes.
Criminal.
Where can I stay? Where can I live? Where can I work? Where do I worship? Where do I raise my kids? And you get to tell me whether I get to do that here or not. Forever. Right? And it's this administration particularly has been very challenging. And I also want to say not all government attorneys, as much as I have given you my chief complaints on 2 particular ones, there are some that are amazing humans that do have beating hearts, and they're compassionate, empathetic, fair. They do their job without being subhuman. But they're few and far in between, less and less as they retire or they move on to other positions. But it's very challenging. It's a difficult place to be. And a lot of attorneys don't care anymore. A lot of attorneys don't. And the more seasoned they are, the less they go to court. Very few stay in court. They just don't want to go. It's heart-wrenching. It's expensive to be in court all day and sitting for your turn for 3 hours waiting. I understand why they don't go. I get it. But it's also dehumanizing when you send your associate who doesn't know who the client is to begin with and doesn't know anything about your client. Then that's also dehumanizing to the client again, because now their representative doesn't know squat about them, up against the person who doesn't want them there and the other guy who doesn't want them there either. What chances do you have? None.
What's the state of the immigration policy right now? We talked to a bunch of attorneys of different areas, and one of the things that I know that we hear all the time is it's the Wild West right now. Tell us a little bit more about that.
The biggest concern, I think, for me right now are the ACAs that I briefly discussed with you guys when I saw you over lunch. The asylum.
What are the ACAs?
ACAs, the asylum agreements. They're asylum. Oh my God, I'm just blanking on the C, but they're ACAs, cooperative agreements. I'm sorry. Asylum cooperative agreements that Trump has signed with every other president south of the border that say that if you are from Mexico, you can be removed alternatively to Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, or Ecuador. If you're from Honduras, you can be removed, and then you just play, find the country. It used to be that there was a country in Africa that was also part of this.
Uganda.
Uganda was on. They got rid of Uganda last
Yes.
month for some reason. They thought that was too much. But it's not too much
It's a
to
step
send
too far.
somebody. Yeah,
So-
yeah. Another continent, maybe we're pushing it a
They're
little
gonna
bit.
send some Guatemalan people to Uganda.
Yeah.
Start
There are
playing
orders.
the marimba there for them.
Yes. There are orders already that are on appeal from that. I have 2 cases that were sent off to Uganda that I have fighting on appeal.
They were sent. So
well,
they're
no, I'm sorry. They weren't sent. The cases were sent.
Oh, okay.
I filed the
Yeah.
appeal, so
Okay.
the clients are still here. And they want to make those appeals maybe last 2 to 3 months and rubber stamp them. So we're going to have to take that up to the Ninth Circuit. So that's the most troubling thing that folks can have. I have claim after claim after claim that are colorable claims, that are great claims, that would have won asylum. But because they entered after November 2019, they're subject to these ACAs.
What changed? Sorry, real quick. Why November 19th?
He wants everybody, this was Trump's order, and he
Okay.
wants everybody during the Biden administration. Anybody who came in during Biden administration is to go, is supposed to not stay, no matter the claim. No matter if your case is, you already heard 3 witnesses and you've already done direct and cross, and it doesn't matter. If your case is not concluded, then you're subject to the ACA. Doesn't matter if you've been waiting 3 years for a hearing, doesn't matter. None of this matters. Your due process rights don't matter. None of it matters. And it's so the government files their motion whenever they want. The judges allow the motions whenever they want. They give us about 10 days to answer. Some judges 30 days. Then you have a hearing, you lose a hearing, and it goes up on appeal. One after another, after another, after another. So it doesn't matter if your face was, stuck by I have a guy who was hit with an iron by his wife, DV among men, which is quiet and no one talks about, but there's a lot of domestic violence where men are the victims. He doesn't have a claim. He came in 2020. No claim. Doesn't matter. Kids who were abused as children. No claim. No claim. No claim. Trafficking, you can get a trafficking visa, so maybe there's a claim that way, but you can't file your asylum claim in court because it will be knocked out with an ACA. You can't even file it anymore.
So on a trafficking visa, how do you go about that?
So for the trafficking, similar to the U, so a U and a T. T is for trafficking victims and U, but the government of the United States has to use you as a witness. So if you were a trafficking victim, and a lot of people who are trafficking victims are not busted by U.S. authorities, so they have no claim other than asylum. But if you're lucky enough that you were busted, or the people who were trafficking you busted those people, and you cooperate, then you have a shot at a T visa. And there's that relief aside from immigration court. But if you were trafficked and you're coming in from Colombia, like one of my clients, and nothing happened with the DEA or nobody busted her, but she was trafficked all the way into Texas. And she has stories from Colombia all the way up about how she was sexually trafficked to get here. And we have a really good claim, but she can't because we have this ACA. So she can't even present her case in court. We prepared it, but we can't talk about it because Trump has these agreements with all these countries that say, yes, sir. I don't know what went down. I don't know what was agreed upon, but all these countries say, yes, they can apply for asylum with us. We'll take care of them.
So she's going to eventually get sent back to
alternative nations. So she has Honduras, Ecuador, and Mexico.
where she's not going to be any safer than she was in Colombia.
Right.
And on top of that, she doesn't know anybody.
Yeah.
No network, no social, nothing.
But that doesn't matter because they promised in the ACA that they have due process. So because the president signed and promised due process, and literally it says, we promise due process, whatever that means, because of course Mexicans have due process, especially right now. We're promising due process to all the Colombians you sent us. Or if you're sending us Hondureños, or if you're sending us Guatemaltecos, we got you. It's ridiculous, and it's insane. And it happens every day, every day.
And it goes back to kind of what we were talking about the judge not having humanity, right? Like, people need to hear this kind of stuff because a lot of people think a lot of different ways about immigration, right?
Yes.
And there's a lot of reasonable people that say, hey, we should have certain limits. We can't have
Agreed.
There's a lot of people that can have
Agreed.
good faith, different beliefs in immigration. But to hear what's actually going down now, I mean, who can argue with this lack of humanity, right? Who can say, yeah, you know what, this is right. This makes sense. This is what America should be doing. We should
Right.
be taking a woman who was sexually trafficked across 15 countries and just send her back to some random country and not give her a day in court, right?
No, right.
People should hear this kind of stuff because that's wrong, and that's wrong on so many levels. And to be an American and to hear that we're doing that, people need to know what's really going on.
It's arbitrary. I have another client who is trans, deaf, and from Guatemala. She's going to be okay only because she entered in April of 2019.
She just happened to show up 6 months early.
She just happened to be here at the right time.
But I
Before the
thought you
cutoff.
said your case had to be concluded by November 19th.
No, if you entered. It's your
Oh, if
entry.
you entered. Okay,
if you
got it, got
entered
it.
after November, I think it's the 1st. I don't remember the exact date in November. But if you entered November of 2019 or
Yeah,
later,
yeah.
but this particular, my Guatemalteca, who is trans and deaf, when she has a mental disability, she's got issues on issues. She came in with her mama. She came in April. So we're okay. I can go forward with that claim because they happen to, by some stellar issue, arrive in the nation before November of 2019. What kind of justice is that? What system do we live in?
Yeah.
And this is my bread and butter every day. This is my normal.
And I'm sure when you get or talk with colleagues, I'm sure they have stories that are quite similar to yours.
Yes, we all have the same kind of stories, and it's heart-wrenching. It really, really is. And a lot of people leave the practice, or they do something else. They do worker visas that are very, quiet, and your heart doesn't leave its body. It's work that you can breathe in and breathe out and be okay. We do other work. I do other immigration work, but removal proceedings are the heart of what I do the most of. It's maybe 75% of what I do.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the administration. So immigration court is a ALJ, right?
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about that for our followers that kind of don't know the difference between going to court for immigration as opposed to going to court for civil or criminal.
Okay. So in this universe, the judge and opposing counsel are both out of the Department of Justice, out of different. It's the same umbrella, appointed by the same person, by the Attorney General, and you're basically up against two people that work for the same entity. There's a slight subdivision where ICE counsel works for ICE, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, and the judge works for the Executive Office of Immigration Review, both directly under the Department of Justice. So there's sister organizations, and you're basically up against the same giant twice.
So you're going like this.
Yes,
Wow.
and they all know each other. They all train together.
Yeah.
They all work in the same building. The camaraderie is beyond. I know them because I've been going to court 26 years, but not because, and I go to the same courts.
I mean, in every other type of law and court, that is called a conflict of interest.
Just like slight.
And you
Just
can get the
tiny.
judge removed if
Yes.
he knows the prosecutor,
Yeah.
right? Or if he knows
Yeah.
the opposing counsel and they're buddies, you get him removed.
The only conflict of interest I can file is if the judge that I'm sitting in front of has appeared specifically on that file. Then I can ask him to remove himself. That's it.
Yeah.
But not because, it happens ever so often. And sometimes I don't even want to say it because I like who I have. And I'm like, oh, I hope nobody says anything because I like this person. I don't want them to not be my judge. And they have a beating heart and they will see the whole picture. But the attorney, whoever's there, will call it out, usually if I don't. So, and I have a duty to the court anyway. So that's the biggest thing is the conflict of interest between these two agencies that are the same agency at the end of the day. And only when you go up to the Ninth Circuit, if you have a case that goes up there, are you actually up against the Office for Immigration Litigation, and it's a different body, and it's the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Then the system actually feels fair. Then my guy or my girl has a chance. And that'll be a good 12 years, 14 years later. I have cases that came back 15, 16 years later.
Wow.
And they do come back. They come back. A lot of people don't stay the course because they get frustrated or they die or they move or they commit a crime or they get sick or life happens or they leave the country.
They leave the country, right? Some
They
of them are
leave.
just self-deporting now.
Yes, some people are done. I had a client who has been here 28 years and she's done. She's like, I'm going. I'm like, what are you going to? She's Mexican. I'm like, and you're going to do what exactly? She's from Michoacan. And have you thought this through with the cartels? What are you going home to? But she's been here 28 years. 28 years. There's nothing to do. I say she's my client. I've known her this long, but there's nothing to do for her. There's nothing to do.
ALJ court is more lax in terms of evidence.
That's correct. So
Right.
we don't have, the federal rules of evidence don't apply. They are suggestions. So
Anything goes.
anything goes.
So the judge decides, right? Every
Yes.
individual
Somebody
judge.
told
Yes.
me, Your Honor,
decides.
somebody told me that somebody told them that somebody told them. No, hearsay? No, that doesn't.
No. Well, yes, but no, and it depends on the judge.
Oh,
and we do
man.
have the
It
Board
really
of
depends on
Immigration
the judge,
Appeals.
huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Board of Immigration Appeals, we have precedent decisions and we have Ninth Circuit decisions. But as far as what can come in and how, it's very loose. It's very loose, and when things get complicated, usually government gets its way because it's the government, and it's, you're up against
The
the
same
same
people, yeah.
the same folks. And the Ninth Circuit can sometimes come and save the day, but it'll go up to the Ninth Circuit before the day is saved and then come back to the Ninth Circuit. There was one case where I was with the Ninth Circuit and we won, we did our argument. It came back on a technicality over temporary protected status. Ironically, by the time the case comes back to the judge, I can't find my client because it's been a year and a half since the last time I talked to her. Still can't find her. Still don't know where she is. We got a grant, but it took 17 years, 16 years, and she moved, and I don't know where she is. But at the Ninth Circuit, they agreed with my technical interpretation about temporary protected status. The Ninth Circuit agreed with me. But I have to get up there, and to get up there, it's many years later. Oh, sorry. Many, many years later that happens. So yeah, the rules of evidence are suggestions. Subpoenas are funny. Getting evidence is weird and strange, and it's bizarre, and it's fun. It's always changing. It's exciting. It's very challenging. I lose sleep over it. These bags have been
well
these
earned.
have been earned over 26 years. Yes, I'm very proud of these guys. It's an amazing line of work, and I love it, and I don't know how much juice I have left. I'm hoping many more years.
Yeah.
How do you cope with taking on all these heavy issues and emotional burdens from your clients? I mean, how do you go home and
You run?
let
Do
it
you
go?
run the marathon?
You're very funny. No, I'm not a runner.
Can we
had
talk about
discussed
that
it.
for
Let's
a
talk
quick
about
second?
that for a
You
second.
did finish a marathon.
She
however.
ran.
Did.
If you ask
No, I
me,
did
she
not.
ran it,
I did
and
not run
it is what it is. Tell us.
Thank you. They were very generous. But no, in 1992, the guy I was dating at the time, who was a runner, said that I could not finish a marathon even if I tried. So a week before the marathon, I signed up and I completed it. I dragged myself through the marathon.
And before that, sorry, real quick. Before that, what's the farthest you've run?
A mile.
A mile.
It's amazing.
I finished.
That's wild.
I finished. I was 19, and my body didn't forgive me for about a week. And there was an ambulance behind me the last 3 or 4 miles. There was an ambulance right behind me, ready and trying to talk me into just hop on. No, and I finished. It took me 8 hours and change.
Hell yeah, though. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Finished. That's
I
awesome.
completed it.
We we just did a post right before we started today's podcast, and you heard it.
I did.
And so, just so we could talk about it real quick, the LA Marathon was yesterday. It was warm. I wouldn't say hot, but it was warm in the 80s. And the organizers, before the race, concluded that they were going to give out finisher medals to anybody who had run at least 18 miles of 26.2, which is a marathon distance. And Vineet and I are just, we're not okay with that.
No.
It's weak. It's like you said exactly what we were thinking. It's what kind of trophy?
Like the participation
Yes.
trophies, right?
I
Yes.
mean,
Yes.
and I mean, I don't know. I think the standards just in general have gone down in society, unfortunately, where we think that people that do 18 miles of 26.2 can get a finisher medal.
They should not get a finisher's medal. Maybe they get their little receipt for they have their bib. That can be their
Yeah.
memory.
Yeah.
You have your little bib. You have your bib that you were in it, but you should not get the medal.
I
I
think
have my
that's
medal.
a perfect example of where we're at and how soft we're getting as a society right now. It's a perfect example,
It
right?
is.
Oh, you do 18, you get the medal. You can run around for the rest of your life and say, look at my medal, I finished the marathon, right? And all these other people that came before you that had to bust their ass for 26.2 miles, it cheapens their experience,
experience.
It
right?
really does.
It really does.
It
I
really
don't
does.
like that
Yes.
at all. I saw
Which-
that. I
Which
didn't
is why
like that
I don't
at
even
all.
say that I ran the marathon, because I admire and respect the actual runners. I am not a runner, never was. I completed it. Groveling, pit stops, and McDonald's, as I told you guys. McDonald's, I went into Subway. I stopped a
Carbs.
lot.
Carbs.
Yeah, I stopped a lot. And there were a lot of people in the stores with me. It wasn't just me. I thought it was just me, and I'm like, I'm going to cover up. I'm going to put my shirt inside out. But no, there were hundreds of other people in there with me. You asked how I decompress. I do a lot of things, but mostly I have learned that there's an entity that's bigger than me and bigger than us, There's a God of my understanding that's in charge, and I'm not in charge. So I give up and I give away things that are out of my control. So I do my best, and then I let it go. And I do that practice a lot during every day. I do a lot of talking to the God of my understanding. I have conference meetings with the God of my understanding. Often I'm the one doing the talking. And then I try to work on meditation so I can do some listening too. I have pets. I've been surrounded by pets my entire life. They bring me a lot of serenity. And I do prayer, like I said, and I read. I love reading. I love music. I walk. And I hang out with people who have little kids. Little kids are amazing creatures. Babies are amazing. Anybody and anything that can help me stay in the moment and be grateful, I work on gratitude. And I try to send that person off to their higher power, right? So I have a God of my understanding. You guys do too. I think everybody does. And so I send them off. I do what I can, and then I try to let it go. Because if I try to control what I can't control, I can drive myself insane.
Yeah. No, that's
Especially with what you do.
yeah.
Yes.
The work that
and
you
it
do.
doesn't take much, right? It takes
Yeah.
a thought to spin and try to control the uncontrollable. And I can't. But I can offer my clients dignity, respect. I can be honorable with them. I can explain things as many times as I need to. I can be there for them. And then help them manage with the consequences. If they take the appeal, if they go. When I get to the end of the Ninth Circuit and the Ninth Circuit case has been lost and I sit with them, we'll sit for an hour and a half, sometimes two. Or they'll come back another time and they're like, I need to talk to you again. I'm okay, let's sit down. What's going to happen? How are you going to do this? What does it look like? What does life look like now? Well, I want to move to another part of the country. Okay, well, what could that look like? Really? And so I can give them that. I can be their sounding board. I can do what I can do, and then I got to let it go. Because otherwise, I will not just have these bags. I'll get more sick. I'm a diabetic, too. So I've gotten sick from this. But I'm learning to let it go because I can't fix. I can't. I can do what I can do only.
You know, I used to do family law right after graduation.
Oof.
And I would get really vested into the clients' cases, and it just wasn't good for me. I mean, for other people that figure out a way to do it, great. And so I understand that, because it's just sometimes I felt that I needed to get as worked up, or just hearing that worked me up, and it just wasn't it wasn't good because look, as a professional, you're getting paid because you're detached, right? You're emotionally detached. If you're emotionally attached, you're not thinking right.
Right.
And you're not going to provide the
And
best representation.
Exactly.
Correct.
Exactly. So, that's tough. Favorite books? You said you read, so
Anything I'm a very much a self-help junkie. So I'm reading Let Them. I don't know if you guys have read
No.
that. It's a newer book.
It's about the kids, right?
No, Let Them is a book on literally the mantra of let them and let you. So letting stuff go, literally what I'm talking about. It's called Let Them. I don't remember the author.
There's like a parenting book similar.
Yeah.
let them
about
have
like-
the food.
It's like let them, right? Say yes. Let your kids do a lot
That's
of stuff.
fine.
No,
Yeah.
I
there's
probably
like a-
should have
Yeah,
read
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Anything by Brene Brown. I've read everything she's ever written. I love her. She's also a self-help woman. Louise Hay, I've read everything about her. Deepak Chopra, I've read everything he's ever written. I read poems. I love poetry in Spanish. Gabriel Garcia Marquez is my favorite author of all time. Cien Años de Soledad, 100 Years of Solitude. Oh.
One of my favorite self-help books, even though it's not, it's The Alchemist.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I forgot.
'Cause
Paulo Coelho.
It's a
Yes.
story, but it's really
Oh.
a self-help story.
Yes, anything by Paulo Coelho
Yeah,
too. Las
he's-
Valquirias, anything by
Yeah.
Paulo Coelho. Oh yes, thank
What
you
a
for bringing
great
him
book.
up.
It's
Yes.
a great book.
He's
There's a book.
yes.
I'm kind of like you. I don't say read because, like you with running in a marathon, I listen to it on audiobook. So it's hard. I don't like saying I read a book. I mean, I listened
Yes.
to it, but
Okay.
in my opinion, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. See, but that's the similarity is okay there.
Yes.
But between running and crawling, there's a big, gigantic space.
There's
Ginormous
a
space.
book called Inner Excellence by Jim Murphy, and
Okay.
it's such a great book. and it's a lot of sports psychology type of stuff. But that's kind of the psychology. I mean, for life,
Of
right?
course. Yes.
And it's just I looked into, so I guess this guy puts on retreats as well, the author, and one of the retreats was you go down to Ensenada with like the people in the retreat. That's part of the retreat. They take you to Ensenada. You build a house for like a day and a half. And then you're also, the speaker, the author, and invites other speakers. So it's like a retreat, like you're hearing them talk, but also you're doing something for the community, right? And I thought, that's actually like really cool, right? Because you get to, interact with the author and other participants of the retreat, but you're also doing something that you can be proud of for the rest of your life, like build a house. And I just thought, I'm like, man, that's cool. I was like, $3,000. I was like, I don't know about that.
Like
but
a Habitat for Humanity with a cross with
yes,
self-help
yes,
put together.
yes.
Yeah.
Which
sounds
but
It's interesting.
It's
Very
interesting,
interesting.
Yeah. Anyways, that book is really good, really, really good. I highly recommend it. But Alchemist for me is
Well,
one
The
of the
Alchemist also has short poems from Paulo Coelho. Used to be a columnist when he first started, and they put together his column of Guardianes del Guerrero de la Luz. So the guardians of the light or warriors of the light, and how you can be a warrior of the light. And there are these little articles from his little column put together. So pick up at some point. It's about Paulo Coelho. It's Guerreros de la Luz, I think, warriors of the light. And it's little snippets of what he used to put in his columns in Argentina, I want to say, or in Brazil. I don't remember where he's originally from. Is he Brazilian or is he Argentine? I can't remember where he's from. I think he's Brazilian, but I'm not sure.
Okay, I thought he was Portuguese, but maybe a Brazilian then.
Then maybe you're right. But it was in Portugueso, and then it was in Argentina, and then this column.
Then Brazilian for sure.
Maybe he is. It was in Portuguese, so you could be right too. But it's this little column. So there's little snippets that are maybe a page and a half, and it's warriors of the light and how to be a warrior of the light. Little snippets that I can read a page, like a daily reader, and do that.
That's cool.
And I've gone to therapy a lot. Therapy has been very helpful for many years for different reasons, and one day at a time, just trying to take it one day at a time.
Do we need a new infusion of immigration attorneys coming out of law school?
Oh, heck yes. Yes. And people who stick it out, because it's very easy to burn out.
What advice do you have for law school students that are thinking of going into immigration?
To stay the course, to follow their heart, to remember what you were talking about, to learn to detach early on and be in it and passionate, and then be able to detach and learn detachment early. I learned it in the middle, and it's been costly. So I would say I would have wanted to learn how to disconnect sooner. And I don't exactly know how you go about learning that ahead of time. Yeah. But how to be able to detach from work sooner, but being committed and remembering why you're in this. For me, it's to help. I know I'm alive and around to help people. That's my gig. How I do it is going to vary, but that's why I'm here. So to remember their why you're in this. Don't forget your why.
Yeah, that's great.
It's great advice.
A couple things before we wrap up. So you're from, you've lived in LA since 18.
Yes.
What are your favorite restaurants?
My current favorite haunt is near you, I think. It's called the Cozy Cafe. It's on PCH, and they only open for breakfast and lunch.
That's when you know they're good in breakfast.
Only
when they
breakfast
close by
and
2
lunch.
p.m. or
Yes.
whatever.
And I believe it's on PCH. It's called the Cozy Cafe because they make these huevos rancheros to die for. And the dude who owns and manages it has his whole family working there, including his grandson who might be 9. And he takes your coffee order. And he's very serious.
I don't
want to
get this guy in trouble for having,
no,
child
he's
labor.
No, he's the sweetest. He's the sweetest. No, you won't get him in trouble. Go to the Cozy Cafe for huevos rancheros. They are
PCH,
fabulous.
is that in?
I think it's. I've
Hermosa,
only been there a
Redondo?
year. I've only been there a year and a half, so I'm still a little muggy on my streets. But I think it's in Hermosa, but could be Redondo.
Okay.
It's called the Cozy Cafe. How about that? And then my favorite haunt, I lived in East LA most of my. I've been in Downey. I lived in Costa Mesa. 1 year, but most of my time I was in East LA. So, there's this other place in Hollywood called Pinches Tacos. That's really, really good.
That's a little chain now, right? I mean, I think
Is it a chain?
there's a
Yeah,
couple.
now there's several.
Yeah, there's several.
There's several? I just know about
There's
the
one
one.
here in downtown.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
There
yeah.
is, yeah.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know that. I've only known about the one in Hollywood. So I really like them. How about you guys?
But
What are
you
your
hold on,
favorite
you were
haunts?
gonna say something in East LA.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about this other little hole in the wall, but I can't remember what it's called. And it's literally, they make their own tortillas, and it's a little hole in the
Well,
wall.
half of East LA makes their own.
Yeah, I
tortillas.
know that's not very
Most
helpful.
places.
That's
They're-
not very helpful. It's on Cesar Chavez and almost Dangler. And
So-
okay, Cinco Puntos is also really good if you like tacos.
Isn't that a
and
truck?
beef. Cinco Puntos? No,
Yeah.
it's right on the corner of Lorena and First Street, or Lorena and Cesar Chavez, and it's called Cinco Puntos. It's a meat market turned kind of deli, and now they make their own tortillas, and now they're big. They used to be tiny hole in the wall.
What does
They're
that translate
excellent.
into? 5 what?
5
5
points.
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 Yeah.
okay.
And it's
Yeah.
a butcher shop
Yeah.
turned deli-ish, turned taqueria.
Oh, sounds
And they're
good.
really good, but you got to be a meat lover. This is not the place for folks who don't eat meat. This is a meat joint.
I'm a meat lover.
Oh, good. Yeah,
I'm on board.
vegetarians will be very,
Yeah.
very bored. Although my daughter doesn't eat meat and she likes their beans and their
Yeah,
and their
beans
rice.
and cheese, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
And their tortillas are thick.
I thought you were gonna say El Tepeyac for some reason.
Tepeyac is 2 blocks from where I used to live, but Tepeyac to me was a little too Tex-Mex for me.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
was more a fusion-y place.
Yeah.
And I was taken there on a date many, many, many years ago. I'm going to take you to a Mexican restaurant. I'm like, oh, no. It was not what I thought. It's good. It's good food.
Yeah.
But it's not to
But it's
me
different.
representative
Tex-Mex
of...
is different.
Yes,
It's
it's
very
not
good.
representative to
Yeah.
me of Mexican food. It's more of a Tex-Mex fusion-y thing. So Tepeyac, I know exactly
You've
where
been
it
to a
is.
whole box?
No.
Vineet, I'll just let him talk.
Incredible. Mexican seafood, great tacos,
Michelin star.
grilled fish, grilled octopus. It comes with homemade tortillas, rice and beans on the side. You make your own tacos. It is, like Mexico City. You're from Mexico City.
yes.
Has some of the best Mexican seafood in the world.
Oh, yes.
I think whole box
So
is
this
at that
is-
level.
This is in that food hall
It's
that's
in the
right
Mercado
the-
Palermo food court by
So
USC.
right next to the
Oh,
DMV.
the one that's right next to the DMV. I've
Yes.
been there many times
Yes.
for that recently. I used to eat there a lot.
Go to whole box.
Yes,
Oh.
that place is legit.
Fantastic.
Legit.
Oh,
Yeah.
That sounds delicious.
that-
It's great.
Yeah.
It's
Ooh.
good.
I'm there. That's where I got my license.
And the chef, right?
At that DMV. Yes.
and the chef, he's got a Michelin star on Yelp. It was the #1 rated restaurant in the country. So he's getting all these awards and getting all this stuff. And I've been there a lot. And so he's just recognizing me because I'm there with my wife sometimes. So I'll talk to him. And one day I said, Chef, you're getting too big, man.
She's
There's-
like name dropping now. He's like, the chef knows me. It's
Now I need to say that
Yeah,
I
I
know
know.
somebody who knows
Yeah.
the chef. Okay, good.
I said, look, the line, there's it's 100 people at the door. When are you going to get a space? When are you going to get a restaurant, that's bigger? And he said, I like it here because I'm not moving. I like it here.
That's cool.
Oh,
Staying
that's
true to
great.
his roots.
He likes it.
Yes,
That's awesome.
yes,
yeah,
yes.
but you should go there for sure.
Because
Sounds delicious.
because they don't have a liquor license, right?
No.
Can you just imagine if he would have gotten a restaurant with a liquor license? That's where the margins are, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he would have made a
Yes.
killing. But
Yeah.
instead, he decides to, stay there. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
And that's a great little market space.
It's a cool spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been in many
I haven't
years.
eaten any of the other food because I always go to whole box, but the other restaurants look great. They look good.
Via's Tacos. There's one. The original one I think is in Highland Park. I just found out that guy actually went to Marshall High School where I went to,
Oh, nice.
and there's one in Grand Central Market now.
Oh, I love Grand
It's
Central Market.
really good. So Via's Tacos.
Okay.
That's a place I would.
Pretty much
I
most
would
of the
recommend.
joints inside Grand Central Market.
They're pretty
They're
good.
really good.
It makes me
They've
sad
gotten
though when I
excellent.
go there because it's gotten so gentrified and different than
This
what it
is true.
was even like when we were at Perkins
Yeah, yeah.
Square. I mean, I remember I used to walk over there and be able to get a bag. My wife likes the persimmons, the big ones that get soft,
Yes,
right? And they actually had like a little market, and
they did. They did. They don't anymore.
And I got a bag this
No.
big for
don't
$2.
They have like one stall that is actually what it was before.
They're all
everywhere.
gone. They're all
Yeah.
gone. All those little vendors.
It's
are
just
gone.
now like hipster food, but I
Yes.
mean, look, I mean that's
great food,
That's the good food, you
Yeah,
know.
it's good food, but it's like different than
Yeah.
it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have my office on 2nd and Broadway for
Yeah.
5 years. So we would walk to
Oh,
Grand
it's
Central Market to
completely
eat
different.
all the time.
Yeah.
It's completely.
But that was
different.
like 15 years ago.
So if
been a while.
people want to get a hold of you or potentially get a consultation, how can they reach you?
2 ways, and it's through a phone number or through my email address, and I don't charge for consultations. And can I give that out?
Yes, please.
Yes? Okay. So the number for the office is 213-291-1551. Or my email. I'm the only one that goes into the email. It's mine. Liz Torres law@yahoo.com.
And that's Liz.
LIZTORRESLAW@yahoo.com. I'm always willing to talk and discuss free consults all the time.
Well, Liz, it's been a pleasure. I'm calling you Liz, even though I
Please
started
call me
out
Liz.
with Elizabeth.
No, I
but,
prefer
you know,
Liz. I prefer Liz 150,000 times.
You know, every guest that we have, and that's the beauty of bringing, you know, having this where we're not really talking about necessarily like a particular case, but we're just talking about people's journeys and just how law has affected them. And every guest has like their great stories. And let me tell you, I've really enjoyed your stories, and I think you're you're a role model for women in general, and lawyers, immigration lawyers,
Single moms.
single
Ah.
moms.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yes,
what
we
you
are
do.
a troop.
Amazing,
Yes.
amazing.
We are
So-
a troop.
So it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
And
you guys.
and please, you know, if anybody has any questions, immigration related, you know, you can always reach Liz. You can always reach us here at the office, and we'd be more than happy to put you in touch with Liz. Thank you
for
so
coming.
much.
Thank you.
We really
Thank you,
enjoyed it.
guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
you.
much. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, that wraps it up. Thank you very much. And remember, if you liked this show or any other show, please give us a 5-star review. Please give us a 5-star rating and a review. We'd really appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to Sidebar Sessions by CD Law. Subscribe to our podcast channel and follow us at CD Law Firm. Wine picks are welcome. From Custodio and Dubey, your personal injury law firm. We'll see you next time.